Dr. Park Minji sat in her chair watching the big screens that covered the wall. Every day for 30 years she had done the same thing. She watched the messages come in from all the human colonies scattered across the stars. 17 colonies, 12 different star systems, millions of people living their lives far from Earth. The morning reports always came in the same order. New Sol Colony would send their message first, then Busan Station, then all the others. Like clockwork, every 12 hours. Today felt different. Minji looked at her watch. New Sol was late. She frowned and checked the communication systems. Everything looked normal. The quantum transmitters were working fine. The signals should be getting through without any problems. Maybe they are having technical problems, she said to herself. But New Sol had the best equipment. They never had problems. An hour passed. Then 2 hours. Still nothing from New Sol. Minji felt a cold feeling in her stomach. She had never seen this before. Then something worse happened. Busan Station missed their check-in time too. Then Paradise Colony. One by one, all 17 colonies went silent. Admiral Lee Hyun was eating lunch when his communicator buzzed. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been in charge of Earth's space defense for 15 years. Most days were quiet. Today would not be quiet. "Admiral, we have a problem," came Minji's voice through the device. "All the colonies have stopped talking to us." Hyun put down his food and walked quickly to the command center. The place was full of people running around, checking systems, making calls. Everyone looked worried. "Tell me what happened," Hyun said. Minji pulled up the data on her screen. "It started this morning. New Sol missed their check-in. Then Busan, then all of them. No emergency signals, no distress calls. They just stopped." Hyun looked at the timeline. The silences had happened in a pattern. The outer colonies went quiet first, then the ones closer to Earth. Like something was moving from colony to colony. "Solar storm?" Hyun asked. "No, the space weather is calm everywhere." "Equipment failure? All 17 colonies at once?" "That is not possible." Hyun felt the same cold feeling that Minji had felt. In 30 years of space exploration, nothing like this had ever happened. Captain Kim Tae-ho was 3 days away from New Sol Colony when the emergency message came through. His ship, the Pioneer's Edge, was on a routine patrol mission. The message changed everything. "Captain Kim, you are ordered to go to New Sol Colony immediately. Find out why they are not responding to our calls. Report back as soon as possible." Kim was a young captain, only 35 years old. He had never dealt with anything like this before. His crew of 20 people looked nervous as they changed course toward New Sol. "What do you think happened to them?" asked his second officer, Lieutenant Song Min-ho. "I do not know," Kim said. "Maybe their transmitters broke. Maybe they are too busy to send messages. We will find out soon." But Kim did not believe his own words. Something felt very wrong. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyun called an emergency meeting. All the top military leaders came to the big conference room. General Yoon Dae-sung was there, along with scientists, intelligence officers, and government officials. "People," Hyun began, "we have lost contact with all our colonies. 17 worlds, millions of our people. We do not know what happened to them." The room was quiet. Everyone understood how serious this was. Dr. Choi Sun-hee, a specialist in alien life, spoke up. "Could this be an attack? Have we finally met another intelligent species?" "We have no proof of aliens," said General Yoon. "But we cannot rule it out." Hyun nodded. "We are sending Captain Kim to investigate New Sol. He should arrive in 3 days. Until then, we prepare for the worst." The meeting lasted for hours. They made plans for different situations. What if it was pirates? What if it was a disease? What if it was war? But no one wanted to say what they were all thinking. What if all those people were dead? Captain Kim's ship reached New Sol's star system after 3 long days. The crew was tense as they approached the planet. They expected to see the usual things: ships moving around, satellites in orbit. The lights of cities on the planet's surface. They saw nothing. "Run a full scan," Kim ordered. The science officer, Dr. Han Suji, worked at her station. Her face went pale as she read the results. "Captain, I am not getting any readings from the planet. What do you mean?" "I mean the planet is not there." Kim felt his heart stop. "That is impossible. Run the scan again." Dr. Han's hand shook as she ran the scan 3 more times. The results were the same every time. "Sir, where New Sol Colony should be, there is nothing. No planet, no moon, no space station, just empty space." Kim stared out the window at the star where New Sol's sun shone brightly. The planet that had been home to 2 million people was gone. Not destroyed. Gone. Like it had never existed. "Send a message to Earth immediately," Kim whispered. The message that went back to Admiral Hyun was short but terrible. "New Sol colony is gone. The entire planet has vanished. There is nothing here but empty space. Something has taken our people and their world. We do not know what or how." On Earth, Minji received the message first. She read it 3 times before she understood what it meant. Then she ran to find Admiral Hyun. When Hyun heard the news, he sat down heavily in his chair. A planet could not just disappear. It was impossible. But Captain Kim was a good officer. He would not lie about something like this. "Send orders to all our ships," Hyun said quietly. "Tell them to come back to Earth immediately. Something is out there and it can make entire worlds vanish. We need to be ready for whatever is coming next." That night, people all over Earth looked up at the stars. Many of them had family and friends living on the colonies. They did not know yet that their loved ones were gone. They did not know that something terrible was moving through space toward their home. Admiral Hyun stood on his balcony, looking at the night sky. Somewhere out there, an enemy with impossible power had stolen 17 worlds. Soon they would probably come for Earth too. But Hyun was not afraid. He was angry. Whoever or whatever had taken their people would learn that humanity did not give up easily. They would learn that Earth could fight back. The war had begun. The news hit Earth like a hammer. 17 planets gone without a trace. Admiral Hyun stood in the emergency command center, watching the chaos unfold on screens around him. News reporters were trying to explain something that could not be explained. How do you tell people that entire worlds just vanish? General Yoon Dae-sung arrived at the command center within an hour. He was a short, stocky man with sharp eyes and a reputation for being very smart about military matters. He had prepared for many types of wars, but never for this. "Have we told the families?" Yoon asked. "Not yet," Hyun replied. "How do we tell a mother that her son's planet no longer exists? How do we explain that to anyone?" Dr. Choi Sun-hee was working frantically in her laboratory. She was Earth's best expert on the possibility of alien life. For years, people had asked her when humans would meet aliens. She had always said it would happen someday. She had never imagined it would happen like this. The data from Captain Kim's ship was spread across her desk. She studied every detail, looking for clues about what had happened to New Sol colony. The numbers made no sense. "The gravitational readings are all wrong," she told her assistant, Dr. Lim Haiwan. "There should be some trace left if the planet was destroyed. Debris, radiation, something. But there is nothing. It is like the planet was never there. Could it have been moved somehow?" Dr. Lim asked. "Moved where and how?" "The energy needed to move a planet would be enormous. We are talking about technology far beyond anything we can imagine." Dr. Choi felt scared but also excited. This was first contact with an alien species. It was just not the kind of first contact anyone had hoped for. Commander Oh Ji-won was in her office when the call came. She led the Phantom Corps, Earth's most elite military unit. Her soldiers were the best fighters humanity had ever trained. They could handle any human enemy, but this was not a human enemy. "Commander, we need your team ready for anything," Admiral Hyun told her over the communicator. "We do not know what we are dealing with, but we need our best people prepared." Oh Ji-won was a small woman, but tough as steel. She had grown up poor on the streets of Seoul before joining the military. Now she commanded soldiers who could fight in space, underwater, or anywhere else they were needed. "What are our orders, sir?" "For now, just be ready. We are still trying to understand what happened." Oh Ji-won gathered her team immediately. They were 50 of the most dangerous people on Earth. Each one was trained to fight against impossible odds. They would need that training soon. Captain Kim's ship was still in New Seoul's star system, running more scans. Every test gave the same impossible result. There was no planet where New Seoul should be. But there was something else. "Captain," called Dr. Han Suji from her station. "I am detecting something strange. There are gravitational waves moving through this system. Very faint, but they are there. What could cause that? Something very large is moving nearby, but I cannot see it." Kim felt the hair on the back of his neck stand up. Something invisible and huge was in the same star system as his ship, something that could make planets disappear. "Take us away from here slowly," he ordered, "and keep scanning. If something is out there, I want to know about it." On Earth, General Yoon had activated Protocol 7. It was humanity's most secret plan, created for the worst possible situations. Only a few people even knew it existed. Protocol 7 meant that Earth was in danger of being destroyed completely. It gave the military power to do anything necessary to protect the human species. Anything at all, are you sure about this? Admiral Hyun asked. 17 worlds are gone, Yoon replied. Whatever did this will probably come for Earth next. We need to use every weapon we have. Yoon opened a secure vault deep under the command center. Inside were files marked with the highest security codes. Project Prometheus. For 50 years, human scientists had been secretly developing weapons to use against aliens. Most people thought it was a waste of money. Now it might save their lives. Dr. Lim Jinwoo was called from his secret laboratory. He was the head of Project Prometheus, a thin man with thick glasses who looked more like a teacher than a weapons designer. But his mind held secrets that could change the course of a war. Doctor, we need to know what weapons we have, Admiral Hyun said. Dr. Lim smiled sadly. I hoped we would never need to use these. But since we must, let me show you what we have built. The weapons were unlike anything the regular military had ever seen. Quantum disruptors that could break apart matter at the atomic level. Reality anchors that could stop space itself from being changed. And most impressive of all, stellar forge devices that could turn stars into weapons. How long to get these ready? General Yoon asked. Most are already built and waiting. We can have them deployed within days. While the military prepared, Dr. Choi made a breakthrough in her laboratory. She had been studying signals from deep space, looking for any trace of whoever had taken the colonies. Finally, she found something. There are radio transmissions coming from the outer edge of our solar system, she told Admiral Hyun excitedly. They are very faint, but they are definitely artificial. Someone is out there and they are talking to each other. The transmissions were in a language no human had ever heard. The sounds were harsh and cold, like metal scraping against stone. Dr. Choi's computers worked for hours to find patterns in the alien speech. I have translated some words, she announced to the emergency meeting. They call themselves something that roughly means Void Reapers. They talk about cleansing and harvesting star systems. The room went quiet. Those words sounded very bad. There is more, Dr. Choi continued. They mention Earth specifically. They call it the source nest that must be eliminated. Admiral Hyun felt cold. They know about us. They are planning to attack Earth. It gets worse, Dr. Choi said. From what I can understand, they have been doing this for a very long time. They travel from star to star, taking planets and everything on them. Our colonies were not their first victims. General Yoon stood up. Then we stop them here. Earth will not disappear like our colonies did. But even as he said the brave words, everyone in the room knew the truth. If these aliens could make entire planets vanish, what chance did Earth have? Captain Kim's ship had been hiding behind an asteroid for 6 hours when they finally saw the enemy. It appeared slowly, like a shadow becoming solid. The ship was massive, bigger than anything humans had ever built. It was black and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. How big is that thing? Kim whispered. Dr. Han checked her instruments. Approximately 50 kilometers long. It is larger than some of Earth's cities. The alien ship moved without making any sound through space. It did not seem to use any engines that humans could understand. It just glided toward the inner planets of the star system like a giant predator. Sir, called Lieutenant Song from the communication station. I am receiving a transmission from that ship. It is not directed at us, but we can listen in. Put it through the translation system. The harsh alien voices filled the bridge. Dr. Choi's translation program worked to convert the words into human speech. What they heard made everyone afraid. Harvesting of outer colonies complete. Moving to eliminate source species. Prepare deletion protocols for the third planet of this system. Kim realized they were talking about Earth. The third planet from the sun. His home. His family lived there. Send an emergency message to Admiral Hyun immediately, Kim ordered. Tell him the aliens are coming to Earth, and tell him they have technology that can delete things from existence. Not destroy them. Delete them. The message reached Earth 12 hours later. By then, Admiral Hyun had already seen the proof with his own eyes. Earth's long-range sensors had detected the massive alien ship entering the solar system. It was not alone. There were dozens of smaller ships with it, all of them heading straight for Earth. How long until they arrive? Hyun asked. At their current speed, approximately 18 hours. Hyun looked around the command center. His people were scared, but they were ready to fight. Humanity had faced extinction before and survived. They would survive this too or die trying. Send a message to every human ship and station in the solar system, he ordered. Tell them to come to Earth immediately, and activate all Project Prometheus weapons. If these aliens want to fight, we will give them one they will never forget. The war for Earth's survival was about to begin. President Kang So-young stood before the cameras, knowing that her words would be heard by every human being on Earth and in space. Her face was calm, but her heart was racing. She had to tell 8 billion people that their species was about to be wiped out. Citizens of Earth, she began. Today I must share news that will shock and frighten you. Our 17 colonies have been destroyed by an alien force called the Void Reapers. These aliens have technology that can delete entire planets from existence. They are now coming to Earth. The reaction across the planet was immediate. Some people panicked and tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Others prayed to whatever gods they believed in. Many just stood still, unable to understand what they had just heard. But I am not speaking to you today to surrender. President Kang continued. I am here to tell you that humanity will fight. We have been preparing for this possibility for 50 years. We have weapons the aliens do not know about, and we have something they will never understand, the human spirit. In the secret military base under the mountains of Colorado, Dr. Lim Jinwoo was working frantically to prepare humanity's hidden weapons. Project Prometheus had cost trillions of dollars and taken decades to complete. Now it would either save the human race or fail completely. How many quantum disruptors do we have ready? Admiral Hyun asked as he toured the facility. 43 units, Dr. Lim replied, wiping sweat from his forehead. Each one can destabilize a pocket dimension up to 10 cubic kilometers in size. And if the alien ship is storing our colonies in pocket dimensions, then we can force them to return to normal space. But sir, we do not know if the people inside will survive the transition. Hyun nodded grimly. It was a terrible choice, but they had to try. 17 worlds with millions of people might still be alive somewhere in alien storage. They had to attempt a rescue. Commander Oh Ji-won was briefing her Phantom Corps soldiers when the ground shook. Everyone looked up as the sound of massive engines filled the air. Through the windows they could see hundreds of human spaceships rising from Earth, heading toward the battle that was about to begin. Listen to me, Oh Ji-won told her soldiers. We have trained for impossible missions our entire careers. This is the most impossible mission of all. We are going to board an alien ship that can delete matter from reality. We are going to fight creatures we have never seen before, and we are going to save our people or die trying. Her soldiers looked back at her with steady eyes. They were scared, but they were ready. Sergeant Park Doha, a veteran of dozens of missions, spoke for all of them. Commander, we have been waiting our whole lives for a fight that really matters. Today we get one. The alien fleet reached Jupiter's orbit as the human ships moved to intercept them. Admiral Hyun commanded from the bridge of the battleship Seoul's Pride, leading a force of over 300 vessels. It was every warship humanity had ever built. Fleet Admiral Bae Kyung-min had taken overall command of the space battle. He was an old man who had spent 40 years in space, fighting pirates and protecting trade routes. He had never imagined he would end his career fighting for the survival of his entire species. All ships hold formation, Bae ordered. Wait for my signal to attack. The Void Reaper ships were even more frightening up close. They seemed to absorb light and heat, making the space around them darker and colder. The largest ship was so big that it cast shadows on several of Jupiter's moons. Sir? Called the communications officer. We are receiving a transmission from the alien fleet. Put it through. The voice that came over the speakers was cold and without emotion. Dr. Choi's translation program converted the harsh alien sounds into human speech. Small creatures of the third planet, you will cease resistance immediately. Your species will be harvested efficiently. Those who comply will be stored safely. Those who resist will be deleted permanently. Fleet Admiral Bae smiled grimly and opened a channel to respond. This is Fleet Admiral Bae Kyung-min of the Human Defense Fleet. Here is our answer to your demand. He gestured to his weapons officer. Immediately, every human ship opened fire at once. Hundreds of missiles, energy beams, and projectile weapons streaked toward the alien fleet. The barrage was so intense that space itself seemed to burn. The alien ships absorbed the attacks without taking any visible damage. Then they began to fire back, and humans learned what true terror meant. The alien weapons did not explode or burn. They simply made things stop existing. The first human ship to be hit, the destroyer Incheon, just vanished. 1 second it was there, the next second there was empty space where it had been. All ships evasive maneuvers. Fleet Admiral Bay shouted, but it was too late for many vessels. Ship after ship disappeared as the alien deletion beams swept across the battlefield. The cruiser Gwangju vanished with all 800 people aboard. The carrier Daegu tried to retreat but was deleted just as it began to turn. In 10 minutes, humanity had lost over 60 ships and 30,000 people. But something strange was happening. For every ship the aliens deleted, 2 more seemed to take its place. Human vessels that had been retreating suddenly turned around and charged straight at the enemy. Damaged ships that should have withdrawn instead moved closer to the alien fleet. "What are they doing?" asked the alien commander on the largest ship. "Why do they not flee when they see they cannot win?" His lieutenant, a creature that had served the Void Reapers for 1,000 years, was also confused. "Master, this species behaves differently from all others. Most civilizations surrender when they see our power. These humans seem to become more aggressive when they lose ships." The alien commander had harvested dozens of species across the galaxy. He had seen civilizations with better technology, stronger defenses, and more ships. But he had never seen a species that fought harder when they were losing. On the bridge of Soul's Pride, Admiral Hyun was coordinating the battle when Dr. Lim's voice came through the communicator. "Admiral, the quantum disruptors are ready, but we need to get much closer to the alien ship to use them." "How close?" "Within 5 kilometers of their hull." Hyun looked at the battle raging around them. Any ship that got that close to the alien vessels was deleted immediately. It was a suicide mission. "I will take a strike force," Commander Ojiwan's voice cut into the conversation. She was already aboard a stealth ship with her Phantom Corps soldiers. "Get us close enough and we will board their ship." "Commander, that is impossible. You will be deleted before you can even approach." "Maybe. But maybe they will not expect us to be crazy enough to try." While the main battle raged, Ojiwan's stealth ship Ghostwalker approached the massive alien vessel. The ship used experimental cloaking technology that made it nearly invisible. Nearly, but not completely. "They are scanning for us," reported the pilot, Captain Song Yojin. She was one of the best pilots in the human fleet, known for flying missions that other people said could not be done. "Can we stay hidden?" Ojiwan asked. "For a few more minutes. After that, they will see us." The Ghostwalker flew closer to the alien ship, dodging between the massive weapon turrets that were deleting human vessels. Ojiwan could see the hull of the alien ship through the windows. It was covered in strange markings and seemed to move like living tissue. "There," pointed Dr. Han Dongwu, the engineer who had designed the quantum disruptors. "That section looks like a docking bay. If we can get inside, we might be able to access their dimensional storage systems." "Do it," Ojiwan ordered. The Ghostwalker slipped into the alien ship like a needle threading through cloth. Inside, the passages were dark and filled with a strange mist. The walls pulsed with energy and the air felt thick and wrong. Ojiwan's soldiers moved carefully through the alien corridors. They had trained for boarding actions, but never on a ship that could delete them from existence with a thought. Every step could be their last. "This way," Dr. Han whispered, following readings on his instruments. "The dimensional storage chamber should be close." They found it after 20 minutes of careful movement. The chamber was enormous, filled with machines that hurt to look at. In the center was a device that seemed to contain swirling galaxies of light. "That is where they are keeping our colonies," Dr. Han said. "I can destabilize it with the quantum disruptor, but I do not know what will happen when I do." Ojiwan made the decision that would change the course of the war. "Do it. Whatever happens, we cannot leave our people in there." Dr. Han activated the quantum disruptor. The effect was immediate and incredible. The dimensional storage device began to spark and shake. Reality around it started to bend and twist. Then, impossibly, planets began to appear in the space around the alien ship. New Sol Colony materialized first, followed by Busan Station and all the others. The 17 lost worlds returned to normal space, complete with their cities, their people, and their orbital stations. But that was not all. Hundreds of other worlds appeared as well. Planets from dozens of different species. Civilizations that had been harvested by the Void Reapers across thousands of years. The stored matter of an entire galaxy's worth of stolen life suddenly filled the space around Jupiter. The alien commander stared in shock at the chaos. "This is impossible. Nothing can reverse our harvesting process." The space around Jupiter became the strangest sight in human history. Hundreds of planets hung in the void like giant jewels, each one home to a different species. Some worlds were covered in crystal cities that sparkled with rainbow light. Others had oceans that glowed purple under alien stars. Many planets held creatures that had been extinct for thousands of years. Ambassador Ro Minseo was the first human diplomat to make contact with the liberated species. She had studied alien cultures her entire career, but always in theory. Now she stood on the bridge of a rescue ship, talking to beings that looked like nothing she had ever imagined. "We are humans from the planet Earth," she said through a translation device. "We freed you from the Void Reapers. We want to help." The first species she met looked like tall trees with golden leaves, but they could think and speak. Their leader had a voice like wind through a forest. "We are the Sylvani. We were taken from our home 3,000 years ago. We thought we would never see real space again. Why did you humans risk your lives to free us?" Ambassador Ro thought about the question. Why had they done it? "Because taking people from their homes is wrong," she said simply. "Everyone deserves to be free." The tree-like alien was quiet for a long moment. Then its leaves rustled in what might have been laughter or crying. "We will help you fight the Void Reapers," it said. "They have taken too much from too many people." Similar conversations were happening across the rescued fleet. Captain Song Yojin flew her ship from world to world, coordinating the massive rescue operation. Some species were grateful and wanted to join the fight. Others were confused and afraid after being stored for so long. A few were hostile and had to be kept separate from the rest. "How many different civilizations are there?" Admiral Hyun asked. "We have counted over 300 species so far," Captain Song reported. "Some are more advanced than us. Others are just starting to use tools. But they all hate the Void Reapers." The rescued civilizations brought knowledge that changed everything. The crystal beings called the Zephyrite had technology that could bend space. The metal creatures called the Forgeborn knew how to build machines that repaired themselves. Most important of all, the energy beings called the Luminari could see into other dimensions. "The Void Reapers have been harvesting for over 1,000,000 years," the Luminari leader told Dr. Choi through a special communication device. "They have fleets hidden in dozens of star systems. What you see here is only a small part of their forces." Dr. Choi felt her heart sink. "How many ships do they have?" "Thousands. Maybe tens of thousands, and they are all coming here." Engineer Han Dongwu worked with alien scientists to understand the enemy better. The Void Reapers were not just using pocket dimensions to store things. They were actually removing matter from reality itself and putting it somewhere else entirely. "Think of it like this," Han explained to Admiral Hyun. "Reality is like a piece of cloth. The Void Reapers can cut holes in the cloth and hide things in the holes, but we found a way to force the holes to open up again. Can we use this against them? I am working on it. If we can build a large enough reality engine, we might be able to restore anything they delete, but we need more time and resources." Time was something they did not have. The Void Reapers had called for reinforcements from across the galaxy. Their message had been intercepted by the Luminari. "Harvesting operation compromised. Request immediate deployment of all reserve fleets. Priority: elimination of interference species." Captain Song Yojin now commanded what they called the Liberation Fleet. It was the strangest military force in galactic history. Human warships flew alongside crystal pyramids that fired beams of pure light. Metal spheres that could change shape joined formation with living ships that healed themselves when damaged. The first major battle of the Liberation War happened near Saturn. A Void Reaper fleet of 50 ships arrived to recapture their lost prizes. They found a combined force of humans and liberated aliens waiting for them. "All ships, remember the plan," Captain Song broadcast. "The humans will draw their fire. Our alien allies will use their special weapons to disrupt their deletion beams." The battle was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. The Void Reapers fired their deletion weapons, but the crystal ships created shields of bent space that deflected the beams. When human ships were hit, the Forgeborn repair drones swarmed over them and fixed the damage in seconds. The energy beings passed through solid matter to attack the alien ships from inside. For the first time in their long history, the Void Reapers were not winning easily. "Impossible," the Void Reaper commander hissed. "How can these primitive species resist our power?" His science officer studied the data from the battle. "Master, these creatures are using teamwork in ways we have never seen. Each species covers the weaknesses of the others. Together, they are stronger than they should be." The Void Reapers had always fought alone, using overwhelming force to crush their enemies quickly. They did not understand cooperation between different species. It was a weakness that the Liberation Fleet exploited in every battle, but the war was far from won. The Void Reapers began to adapt their tactics. They sent multiple fleets to attack different targets at the same time. The Liberation Fleet could not be everywhere at once. The colony world of New Sol was attacked by a Void Reaper strike force while most of the human fleet was defending Earth. The colonists had only been back in normal space for a few days when the deletion beams started falling. From the sky, Governor Lee Tajan broadcast a final message as his world began to disappear piece by piece. This is New Sol Colony. We are under attack by Void Reaper forces. We cannot escape, but we will not surrender. Tell Earth that we died fighting for freedom. The entire planet and its 2 million people vanished back into dimensional storage. But this time it was different. The colonists had hidden small devices around their world, devices based on Han Dongwu's reality engine technology. Even in dimensional storage, they were still fighting. Admiral Hyun received a message that shocked everyone. It came from inside the Void Reaper storage dimension. This is Governor Lee Tajan, New Sol Colony reporting. We are alive inside the alien storage system. Dr. Han's devices are working. We can see other stored worlds in here, thousands of them. We are organizing a resistance inside their own prison. The war had moved into a new phase. The Liberation Fleet was not just fighting to free captured worlds. They were fighting a war across multiple dimensions of reality itself. Engineer Han worked day and night to build larger reality engines. With help from the liberated alien species, he created devices that could restore entire star systems from dimensional storage. But each use of the technology made the fabric of space weaker. Sir, Han told Admiral Hyun, every time we restore something from dimensional storage, we damage reality a little bit. If we do it too much, we might tear holes in space that can never be repaired. How many more times can we use it? Maybe a dozen, maybe less. After that, we risk destroying everything we are trying to save. The final phase of the Liberation War began when the main Void Reaper fleet arrived. Over 10,000 ships emerged from dimensional hiding places, filling the space between Mars and Jupiter. It was the largest fleet anyone had ever seen, commanded by ancient beings that had been harvesting civilizations since before Earth formed. We end this now, broadcast the Supreme Harvester, leader of all Void Reapers. This sector will be cleansed completely. Nothing will remain. The Liberation Fleet gathered for the final battle. Humans, Sylvani, Zephyrite, Forgeborn, Luminary, and dozens of other species united in a single desperate effort. They were outnumbered 100 to 1. This is it, Captain Song told her mixed crew of humans and aliens. Win or lose, this is where we make our stand. But as the two fleets prepared to fight, something unexpected happened. A new voice spoke across all communication channels, ancient, terrible, and filled with cosmic hunger. Void Reapers, you have failed in your purpose. We are coming to finish what you could not. Admiral Hyun felt a chill deeper than space itself. Who was that? The Luminary leader's energy form flickered with fear. Those are the old ones, the beings who created the Void Reapers. We thought they were myths. What do they want? To devour everything, not just harvest it. Destroy it completely. The Void Reapers were never the real enemy. They were just tools. As if summoned by the terrible voice, reality began to tear open in dozens of places. Through the holes came ships that hurt to look at, vessels made of crystallized darkness and living void. The true enemy had finally revealed itself. The war for existence itself was about to begin. The ships that came through the tears in reality were wrong in every possible way. They were made of darkness that had weight, emptiness that could move, and silence that screamed. Looking at them made people feel sick and afraid in ways they had never experienced before. The largest ship was the size of Earth's moon. It spoke in a voice that came from everywhere at once, a voice that made stars dim and planets shiver. I am Null, first of the old ones, for 10 billion years. We have watched this universe grow complex and chaotic. Now we will return it to perfect emptiness. Dr. An Jamin was working in his laboratory when the old ones arrived. He was a theoretical physicist who studied the deepest mysteries of reality. For months, he had been analyzing the technology of the liberated alien species, looking for patterns and connections. Now, he had found something incredible. Admiral Hyun, he called excitedly. I think I know why the old ones are afraid of us. Afraid? They just brought a fleet that could destroy galaxies. Yes, but think about it. Why did they wait until now to reveal themselves? Why did they let the Void Reapers do their work for millions of years? I think it is because consciousness, thinking minds, makes reality stronger. Admiral Hyun did not understand. What do you mean? Dr. An pulled up his research on the big screen. Every species that thinks and dreams and creates makes the universe more stable. The more complex a mind is, the harder it becomes to delete things from reality. That is why the old ones used the Void Reapers to harvest civilizations instead of destroying them directly. So thinking beings make reality harder to destroy. Exactly. And humans, with our stubborn refusal to give up, our creativity, our ability to work with other species, we generate more reality-stabilizing force than anything they have ever seen. Admiral Hyun began to understand. That is why they are here now. We are making the universe too stable for them to destroy easily. President Kang So-young received Dr. An's research just as Null's fleet began its attack on the solar system. The Old One ships did not just delete matter like the Void Reapers. They erased the very concept of existence itself. Where they passed, space became something that had never been. People of Earth, President Kang broadcast to every human and alien in the solar system. We face an enemy that wants to destroy everything that has ever existed. But we have learned something important. Our thoughts, our dreams, our refusal to surrender, these things make reality stronger. The message went out on every frequency, translated into hundreds of languages for all the liberated species. I am asking every thinking being in this system to focus on one simple idea. We exist. We have the right to exist. We will not be erased. Admiral Park Soo-young commanded Earth's final defense fleet. She was Admiral Hyun's daughter, and had learned space warfare from the best teacher possible. As Null's ship approached Earth, she led every remaining human vessel in a desperate charge. All ships target their command vessel, she ordered. We may not be able to destroy it, but we can make sure they know we were here. The human ships fired everything they had at Null's massive vessel. Nuclear missiles, antimatter torpedoes, quantum disruptors, every weapon humanity had ever built. The attack seemed tiny against the enormous dark ship, like throwing pebbles at a mountain, but something unexpected happened. The attacks actually damaged the enemy ship. Impossible, Null's voice echoed across space. No weapon can harm us. We are entropy made manifest. Sir, reported the human weapons officer aboard the flagship Soul's Promise. Our quantum disruptors are working. Every time we hit them, their ship becomes more solid, more real. Admiral Park understood. Keep firing. Our weapons are not just hitting their ship. They are forcing it to exist in normal reality where it can be hurt. The battle spread across the entire solar system. Human and alien ships worked together to force the Old One's vessels into normal space, where conventional weapons could damage them. It was working, but slowly. Meanwhile, Dr. An had a crazy idea. If conscious thought made reality stronger, then they needed more conscious thought than had ever existed in one place. We need to contact every thinking being in the galaxy, he told President Kang. Not just our allies, everyone, every species. Even ones we have never met. If we can get them all to think the same thought at the same time, we might be able to make reality so stable that the Old Ones cannot destroy anything. President Kang stared at him. How do we contact entire civilizations we have never met? The Luminary can send messages through dimensional space. If we broadcast on all possible frequencies in all possible dimensions, someone will hear us. The message that went out from Earth was simple. To all thinking beings in the universe, we are humanity. We are under attack by forces that want to destroy all existence. We ask you to think one thought with us. I exist. I choose to exist. Existence is good. Think this thought and reality will become strong enough to resist destruction. The response was incredible. Across the galaxy, millions of species heard the message. Some had been fighting the Old Ones for eons. Others had never known such beings existed. But all of them understood the threat. On worlds of gas and fire, crystal beings focused their thoughts on existence. In the depths of space, energy creatures added their consciousness to the growing wave. Even primitive species that had just learned to use tools contributed their simple but powerful thoughts about the right to exist. Null felt the change immediately. Reality was becoming harder to manipulate. The fabric of space itself was fighting back against the Old One's attempts to destroy it. What is happening? Demanded one of Null's servants. The thinking creatures are uniting their consciousness. They are making existence itself resistant to our power. For the first time in 10 billion years, Null felt something like fear. The climax came when Null tried to erase Earth itself. The massive dark ship positioned itself above the planet and began the process that had destroyed countless worlds. But Earth did not disappear. 8 billion humans plus millions of liberated aliens all focused on the same thought. We exist. We will not be erased. Existence is beautiful. Their combined consciousness created a field of reality so strong that Null's deletion beam could not penetrate it. More than that, the beam reflected back and hit Null's own ship. Impossible! Null screamed as parts of its vessel began to exist in ways that hurt its very nature. Consciousness cannot defeat entropy. Order cannot survive chaos. But it was happening anyway. All across the galaxy, the Old One's ships were being forced into normal reality, where they could be fought and defeated. The combined will of trillions of thinking beings was rewriting the rules of existence itself. Commander Ojiwan led one final boarding action, this time onto Null's ship. Her Phantom Corps soldiers moved through corridors made of crystallized darkness. Their thoughts focused on the simple idea that they had the right to be there. They found Null at the heart of the ship, a being of pure entropy, a creature that existed to unmake things. But surrounded by the focused consciousness of her soldiers, Null could not delete them. "You cannot defeat us," Ojiwan said simply, "because we choose to exist, and existence is stronger than emptiness." Null tried one final attack, attempting to erase the very concept of consciousness from reality. But the attack met a wall of focused thought from every thinking being in the galaxy. Trillions of minds all declaring the same truth. We think, therefore we are. We choose to be, therefore we will be. The Old One's defeat was total. Their ships, unable to exist in the reality that consciousness had made too stable to destroy, faded back into whatever dark dimension had spawned them. Null's final words echoed across space, "This is not over. Someday consciousness will weaken and we will return." But Earth's response came from every human and alien voice at once. "Then we will be waiting." The war was over. The Old Ones had retreated, the Void Reapers had surrendered, and thousands of civilizations were free. But more importantly, something new had been created. A galaxy-wide alliance of thinking beings committed to protecting existence itself. Ambassador Ro Minseo stood in the new Galactic Council building, watching representatives from hundreds of species work together to rebuild what had been destroyed and protect what remained. "Did we really win?" asked her assistant Dr. Kim Soo-hyun. Ro looked out at the stars, where human ships flew alongside vessels of every possible design, all working together to heal the wounds that eons of harvesting had left in reality. "We did more than win," she said. "We proved that existence has meaning. We showed the universe that consciousness, creativity, and cooperation are the strongest forces that exist. We taught reality itself that it is worth preserving." Admiral Hyun, now an old man but still proud, stood on the bridge of his ship as it patrolled the restored colonies. New Seoul was exactly as it had been before the Void Reapers took it. But now its people knew how precious their existence really was. "Sir," asked his young communications officer, "do you think the Old Ones will really come back someday?" Hyun smiled and looked at the mixed crew of humans and aliens working together on his bridge. "Maybe they will. But if they do, they will find a universe full of beings who know the value of existence and are willing to fight for it. They will find that consciousness grows stronger every day, not weaker. And if that is not enough,